I've always known I was a dancer. My dad dances. I mean, he's a construction worker, but he dances, and my whole family dances. It's just what we do. And growing up, I mean, mainly growing up social dance, Cajun, Zydeco, second line, jitterbug, you know, to swamp pop music. That was always my life, and it was always a big part of my family. If we couldn't talk together, we could always dance together. And so it became who I was, and it became what I did. And even though I never really had ballet or modern dance or jazz or tap, you know, until I was older, it was still who I was.
They told him we had an incredible crisis here, and that flying over an Air Force One does not do it justice. And we're outmanned in just about every respect.
I heard the interview, and you know, like a lot of people, I was very angry on how people were being responded to, how everything took so long, the resources, and it was very, you know, it was horrible. And so yeah, I listened to the interview, and it just, you know, it made me feel something like, this guy, you know, it's not about politicians, and it's not about being right or being wrong. It's just about, we're down here and we're in survival mode and we need help. And so that's what I heard when I heard this interview, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna chop it up, put it together, and I'm gonna move to it. I'm gonna find a way to choreograph. When I auditioned the dancers at LSU, I got dancers that looked different from each other so they could represent a body of people. They could represent Louisiana, the public. And just moving to his words and his tone and his feeling, and it just reinforced the feeling of Katrina, of what was going on. And that was basically, you know, the process. It was a long process. That was the point of the piece. The process was just listening to the words and the tone and just putting movement to it and making it flow together. It took a few months. You know, a lot of times in choreography you count the music, you know, but you couldn't do that there. So it was a lot of like, all right, say it with me, you know, say it with me, y'all, like, people are dying, okay? And this is the movement that goes to it. So it was just a lot of memorization in the beginning of how he said it and when he said it, and it just had to become to where it was a song after a while. And we knew what was gonna happen, we knew what he was gonna say, and it had its place. Every movement had its part to what he was saying.
Then they told me that they went overnight and they built 17 concrete structures.
I think a lot of people didn't know whether it was supposed to be funny or whether it was supposed to be serious.
A line of bull, and it's spinning, and people are dying down here.
It was not a political stance. It was just, you know, look what happened. You know, look what happened. Let's just take a moment to just look and listen to what happened as humans. Not as Democrats, not as Republicans, not as people who voted for Bush or people who didn't. You know, it was bigger than that.
People don't want to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it. You had drug addicts walking around this city looking for a fix. And that's the reason why they were breaking in hospitals and drugstores. They're looking for something to take the edge off of their Jones, if you will. So what you're seeing is drug-starving, crazy addicts, drug addicts, that are wreaking havoc. And we don't have the manpower to adequately deal with it. We can only form a perimeter around them and hope to God that we're not overrun. Did the tsunami victims request? You go through a formal process to request? You know, did the Iraqi people request that we go in there? Did they ask us to go in there? What is more important?